Samsung is finally doing what many thought might never happen again. Its next-generation Exynos chip is not only real, but already in mass production ahead of schedule. That's right, the long-rumored Exynos 2600, built on a 2nm process, is officially on its way for the upcoming Galaxy S26 series, and it could mark one of the most important comebacks in Samsung smartphone history. If you remember, Samsung had a pretty rough time with its previous flagship chip, the Exynos 2500. That one was supposed to launch alongside the Galaxy S25 lineup, but the company struggled to get its 3nm process stable enough in time. As a result, Samsung had no choice but to ship every Galaxy S25 model in every region with Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite instead. The Exynos 2500 only showed up later in the Galaxy Z Flip 7, which meant Samsung's dream of going toe-to-toe with Qualcomm was put on hold. But that setback might have been exactly the wake-up call Samsung needed. As soon as the 2500 was out the door, the company shifted its full focus to the next generation, the Exynos 2600, and this time they were determined not to miss the flagship launch window. Fast forward to now, and it looks like that gamble has paid off. Reports say Samsung's 2nm manufacturing process is finally stable enough that mass production of the Exynos 2600 has started ahead of schedule. That's a big deal. Moving from 3nm to 2nm isn't just a small spec bump, it's a leap forward in efficiency, performance, and thermal control. Chips built on a 2nm node can pack in more transistors in the same space, which means they can deliver significantly better performance while consuming less power. For phones like the Galaxy S26, that could translate to faster speeds, cooler operation, and noticeably longer battery life. Now, to be fair, Samsung Foundry's yields, basically the percentage of chips that come out perfectly functional, are still not as high as TSMC's, but they're finally good enough to mass-produce chips for a major flagship launch. That alone shows just how much progress Samsung has made in catching up to its main rival in the semiconductor space. And this isn't just about the Galaxy S26. Samsung is clearly thinking bigger. The company has reportedly slashed the prices of its 2nm wafers, which is a bold and aggressive move to win over more clients and challenge TSMC's dominance. TSMC still holds the largest share of the chip-making market, but if Samsung can undercut them on price and deliver competitive performance, it could start to shift the balance, not just for its own phones, but for the wider industry. As for how Samsung will use the Exynos 2600 in the Galaxy S26 lineup, that's where things get a little more complicated. Current reports suggest we'll still see region-based variations just like before. That means the US and South Korean markets are expected to stick with Snapdragon versions, while other regions might get the Exynos 2600 powered models. We don't yet know which exact models will ship with which chip, since reports on that are conflicting, but one thing is clear. Exynos is officially back in the flagship conversation. Of course, there's one potential speed bump in all this. While the chip itself is shaping up to be a major win, some early leaks about the Galaxy S26 redesigns, especially for the S26 Edge and S26 Ultra, haven't been met with universal praise. Some fans feel the design changes are a step backward or don't go far enough to stand out, and that could become a sticking point if the new look overshadows the powerful hardware inside. Still, there's no question that the Exynos 2600 is one of the most significant developments we've seen from Samsung in a while. If the benchmarks we've seen so far hold up, it might finally bring Exynos performance in line with or even ahead of Qualcomm Snapdragon chips, and that would give Samsung something it's been chasing for years: control of the full hardware experience of its flagship phones without having to rely entirely on a competitor's silicon. It's also worth thinking about what this means beyond just the S26 launch. A successful 2nm chip could signal a new era for Samsung Foundry. It could attract new clients, shift market dynamics, and establish Samsung as a serious contender in next-generation chip manufacturing. And for us as users, it means more competition, faster innovation, and better devices, not just from Samsung, but from everyone trying to keep up. So, after years of setbacks and skepticism, the Exynos brand looks ready to make a serious comeback. The Exynos 2600 isn't just another processor, it's a statement from Samsung that it's back in the game and ready to fight for the top spot in mobile performance. If everything goes according to plan, the Galaxy S26 series launching in 2026 might be remembered not just for its design or camera upgrades, but as the moment Exynos truly returned to flagship relevance. Now the big question is whether Samsung can deliver on all this potential when the phones hit shelves. Because if the real-world performance matches the early promises, the Galaxy S26 lineup could be one of the most important releases Samsung has ever done, and the start of a brand new chapter for Exynos. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.